It stays closed when the engine is cold, so the engine can warm up and the water doesn't go from the engine to the radiator and cool. I've had customers, they had a cheap one put into their car, stupid thing stuck shut eventually. They have a water pump that pumps the water through the engine into the radiator and back in again.
Did you know ignoring one tiny car part as cheap as $25 could lead to a $7,000 repair bill? In this video, we're breaking down how this often overlooked component is critical to your car's cooling system and how you can replace it before disaster strikes. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Imagine this. You're cruising down the highway on a summer day. The sun is blazing, your air conditioning is running full blast, and then, out of nowhere, your engine temperature gauge shoots up. Panic sets in. You pull over, and steam is pouring out from under the hood. Overheating isn't just inconvenient, it's one of the leading causes of catastrophic engine damage. In fact, overheating contributes to 40% of all engine failures, often leaving car owners with repair bills that run into the thousands. One of the biggest reasons this happens is because many people believe common cooling system myths. For instance, the idea that all coolants are the same is simply not true. Using the wrong coolant, or even a mix of different types, might seem harmless in the short term, but it can lead to a cascade of issues inside your engine. Over time, it can accelerate corrosion and rust, damage seals, and ultimately cause components like the water pump to fail. In worst-case scenarios, you could end up with a cracked engine head, a repair that can easily cost $4,000 or more. And let's not forget blown head gaskets, which are almost as expensive and notoriously labor-intensive to fix. Another common mistake is topping off antifreeze with tap water. Tap water might seem like a convenient option, but it's loaded with minerals that can leave deposits inside your cooling system. This buildup restricts the flow of coolant, creating hot spots that are a recipe for long-term system failure. Always use distilled water or pre-mixed coolant for your car. Even a simple choice like this can make a huge difference in preventing corrosion and keeping your engine healthy. And here's where things get interesting. Not all coolants are created equal. Your car's manual specifies the exact type you need, whether it's a silicate-based formula or an extended drain coolant. Ignoring this detail can cause chemical reactions inside the cooling system that break it down faster than you'd expect. That's why simply using the right coolant type could save you thousands in repairs over the life of your vehicle. But that's not all. There's one overlooked DIY trick that many drivers forget about, and it can stop overheating disasters before they start. Stick around, because we'll cover that in just a bit. For now, let's talk about something else that could cost you big, a tiny part that most people don't think about until it's too late. What if I told you a part that costs as little as $25 could be the key to preventing thousands of dollars in engine repairs? Let's talk about two small yet critical components of your car's cooling system.
And they have this little piece here called the thermostat. It allows the engine to warm up faster. They ended up blowing their engine. They were on the highway. Next thing they knew, the temperature was at the H and the engine stopped running. They have the radiator that dissipates the heat. They have some type of cooling fan that sucks air through it when you're going at lower speeds.
The thermostat and the radiator cap. These parts don't get much attention, but they work behind the scenes to keep your engine running at the right temperature. Ignore them, and the consequences can be severe. The thermostat is often underestimated, but its role is essential. Installed between the engine and radiator,
it stays closed when the engine is cold, so the engine can warm up and the water doesn't go from the engine to the radiator and cool. I've had customers, they had a cheap one put into their car, stupid thing stuck shut eventually. They have a water pump that pumps the water through the engine into the radiator and back in again.
It regulates the flow of coolant, ensuring that the engine maintains its optimal operating temperature, usually between 195 degrees Fahrenheit and 220 degrees Fahrenheit. But when this small device starts to fail, disaster isn't far behind. If the thermostat sticks shut,
and then once it gets hot, the little valve inside, it expands, it opens up, so you don't have to think about it for years and years. Because over the last 51 years of fixing cars, then it lets the hot water from the engine go through the radiator and be dissipated to the atmosphere.
Coolant can't flow to the radiator, and the engine overheats almost immediately. This can cause major problems like a blown head gasket or even a cracked engine block, all of which can cost thousands to repair. Now, what happens if the thermostat sticks open? The engine might run too cool, lowering efficiency and increasing fuel consumption. Over time, this can lead to long-term damage, like cylinder wear, which isn't cheap to fix.
Now here I'm going to start with something no one ever thinks about: the thermostat. It's hidden inside the engine. You can't see it, so it won't stick. And take my advice: buy OEM, original equipment thermostat. It's inside here in a little housing. Has 2 bolts holding it on. And as you drive, they open and close thousands of times.
Replacing the thermostat every 4 to 5 years is a smart move, and while aftermarket options exist, going with an OEM part ensures reliability. Then there's the radiator cap, a small and often ignored component. Its job is deceptively simple.
Now the next thing that's often forgotten is the radiator cap. Sometimes on these Japanese style ones, this plastic piece here breaks and falls off, so you buy a new one. Spring pressure over years and years. So again, maybe it's a good idea. Buy a new cap every 4 or 5 years.
Maintaining the proper pressure in your cooling system, typically around 13 to 18 psi. Without the right pressure, coolant can boil below its optimal temperature, drastically reducing its ability to keep your engine cool. A cracked or worn radiator cap might not seem urgent at first, but it's an overheating problem waiting to happen. Imagine taking a long road trip only for a damaged $10 radiator cap to fail. Overheating leaves you stranded, costing hundreds in towing and repairs. Before setting out, check the cap for cracks or wear. And like the thermostat, replace it every 4 to 5 years with one that matches your car's pressure rating.
And your engine's gonna overheat, so it's a good idea just for peace of mind. Every 4 or 5 years, change your thermostat. Yeah, maybe you'll spend $25 instead of $9.95, but it's saving your engine. Buy the original equipment one, and they cost a lot of money. They do break down more often. I think it's a stupid design, but hey, are electronic. They're not just a simple mechanical thing. They're run electronically.
Neglecting these inexpensive parts can lead to costly breakdowns. By maintaining them, you're not just avoiding steep repair bills, you're extending your car's lifespan. Speaking of overlooked tips, there are a couple more tricks that can make a huge difference in preventing cooling system failures. Let's get into those next. The secret to a long-lasting cooling system isn't expensive. It's about knowing which small steps to take before problems arise. Regularly checking your coolant, thermostat, and radiator cap can be the difference between a smooth ride and an engine failure that could cost thousands. Overheating causes 40% of engine failures, yet most of these are preventable with simple maintenance. Check your coolant for the right type. Inspect small parts like the thermostat and radiator cap, and act before damage occurs. Even seasoned mechanics overlook these preventative measures. Don't be one of them. Take control of your car's cooling system today.